Hey, what's up you guys? Haven't talked to you guys in a while, I know. I'd like to start this video off by sort of apologizing for not posting more videos like this, like I've been trying to do more. Life's been a bit crazy the last week, and I didn't really have a lot of videos for this last week either, so it just doubled up and was worse. So, I'm back, and I have a kind of cool discussion topic. So, it's something that was brought to my attention in one of my more recent videos about how long Yu-Gi-Oh will last, and I've also seen it at the local level and even sometimes higher than that. And the question is Yu-Gi-Oh like too hard to learn? I say that not because I think Yu-Gi-Oh, the fundamentals of Yu-Gi-Oh are difficult. The idea of like summoning monsters and they have attack and defense points, you can attack or defend with them, and then there's spells that you can activate and traps that you can set. That's basic, and life points, whatever. Even the phases, it's just like, when I say too hard to learn, I guess I should sort of preface that by saying, is Yu-Gi-Oh too hard to learn for newcomers today? Or is it too hard to learn for like, veteran, well, wrong word, old school players who decided to jump back into Yu-Gi-Oh? That's the thing. Okay, whenever I see old school like Yu-Gi-Oh players from, we'll say like 2006, 2007, or earlier, or maybe a little later, and then try to jump into Yu-Gi-Oh today, it just feels to me like they're so handicapped, they're so behind. Yes, we have new things like Xyz and fusions and, not fusions, Xyz and synchros and I guess pendulums now. But it's not just that, it just feels like nowadays, there's so many new mechanics that are so much more standard to know. Like, I feel like a few years ago, maybe like 2006, 2007, you didn't have to know so much about what makes every card miss at the timing, what makes, how exactly Skill Drain and Baylor work and things like that. I mean, I guess you should always have known how chains work, but now it just feels like it's so much more important to know those things, to know how chains work, to know, what each card does. And it kind of feels like not only that, but like so many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh right now kind of work within their own bubble as well. There are these cards that sort of break the rules and they have their own mechanic that's tied specifically to them. If I can think of a good example, I would have to say like artifacts maybe. Like they, have their entire mechanic that's pretty much unique to them, and they like aren't affected by D-Fissure, but they are affected by Macrocosmos and things like that. I feel like when new players enter the game, or old players try to come back in, it just seems like it's so hard for them to grasp like how these new concepts work. And Xyz came with their own sort of can of worms in terms of like, they have ranks, not levels. Easy enough to understand, but sometimes it gets complicated because, I remember people asking like, well, can you summon Infernity Archfiend when an Xyz monster dies? It's kind of like, can you? And, like Gravity Bind, it was a bit of confusion, and a lot of people didn't understand like why it works that way. And there are so many more examples where it just feels like if you're a new player, it's really hard to catch up with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's really hard to get how some of these effects work and how to like adapt to it. You're so used to that kind of thing. And I guess, as an older player, or from an older player's perspective, maybe they feel like, they can still do the stuff that won back in 2006, but Yu-Gi-Oh! It's such a different game, and it's so different to adapt to, and it changes faster now, I think, than it did a few years ago. A few years ago, it felt like new cards were just released really slowly, and new strategies just slowly happened as players found them. But now, not to be another archetype whiner, but there's so many archetypes, they're so different, they're so unique, every archetype's within its own bubble. So like, whereas old Yu-Gi-Oh meant just user or understanding good fundamentals and good player habits and stuff, like card conservation, now you're forced to also, understand exactly how each archetype works, the rulings that are specific to that archetype. Fire Fist are kind of within their bubble, artifacts, they're kind of within their bubble. Madolche, it's like, being a new player in Yu-Gi-Oh right now is so much tougher, I just think, than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where you just learned the basics and you just ran with it. Now it's like you have to learn all these exceptions, and you know, Evil Storm Caster, you can't Valor it, yet you can Valor like Ma Hunter or Pa Hunter. It just, sometimes it feels like for a new player explaining all of this is such a challenge because they don't quite grasp like why it has to be this way. And sometimes I feel like, you know, I can sympathize. Why does it have to be this way? Why do we have these cards that just break obvious rules? It feels like, you know, Evil Storm Caster and all sorts of other cards. You guys can think of loads of examples. The cards just almost seem like they kind of break the fundamental rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot, and everything's got like a specific ruling attached to it. It makes it hard for a new player to really grasp what you have to do to succeed in the game today, and that even extends into like, you know, how to make a good extra deck, how to side now as opposed to like how siding used to work, where it used to be like an ultra generic side deck cards. You just kind of sided your MSTs and your extra Book of Moons or something that was applicable to anything, whereas now like you have to side your Floodgates and you have to like side some weird thing for one matchup just because it's relevant. It's kind of crazy. So my question for you guys today is, would you guys agree that Yu-Gi-Oh's maybe not gotten too complicated, but you think it's, you know, is this like an issue? Is this like a rising issue that maybe should sort of be addressed by Konami? Because I mean, clearly the rulebook's not really all that helpful anymore. It's just kind of like, it's hard to say, you know, unless you have been playing and been keeping up, it feels like it's really difficult to just suddenly jump back in. Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't as friendly as games like Magic and Pokemon, because I see at my local level where Magic players are able to just kind of jump in and out and they seem to be fine. And it's kind of same with Pokemon and a few other card games, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just like, sometimes people jump back in and they're just like, oh, this like just feels like so much like BS, there's so much new stuff, so many new rules, it don't even make sense, it's not fair. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you see this at your locals? Do you see this personally? Like, do you feel like the game's gotten to this point where like if you haven't been playing these last few years, you just can't grasp the plays that are accepted, like the commonly done plays, the commonly done rulings and outs to cards? Or do you think, you know, it's not really a big deal if people want to get back in and they should just put in the time and figure it out? I want to know. So leave your comments down below. That's what the comment section's for. And as always, you know, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. Sorry I've been on a slight hiatus. Not even hiatus, just a bad week. Bad month. So one last thing though. Next week starts my guest upload weeks. This will probably be the last or like next to last video that you guys see this month from me. The rest will be guest uploads. Now I'd like to say that guest upload week, I get, you know, some of the venom and animosity towards guest uploads. I've seen it on every channel. When someone does a guest upload, viewers are kind of engineered almost to dislike it and be hateful, but I'm doing this guest upload to give back to the community. Like, I'm doing this to feature channels that are just starting out, so their videos of course aren't going to be the best videos necessarily, but I'd like to ask that you guys please be supportive of them, or if not that, then at least just be respectful. You know, give them feedback. Don't just say this guy sucks, get him off, or something like that. Just check their channels out maybe. If you like what they do, check out their channels. If you don't like the videos, give them feedback, but just, you know, don't be rude. That's all I can say. There should be 3, 4, 5, I'm not sure exactly how many videos, but there'll be a couple, so hope you guys enjoy that. And then I'll be back with regular videos. I might even have some videos in between, we'll see. But that's all, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Cat's messing up the camera. So I will have to talk to you guys later. Subscribe and see ya.
It's your choice.
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 1 star in the YugiTube Hall of Fame.
Then keep watching Team D-Boys and the Team APS YouTube channels for more updates.
Nominations begin in October and voting is all throughout November.
And remember guys, it's
Your
your
choice.
choice.